Greetings, spirit beings, greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Television, the channel or PC Kaufman, double on YouTube. And this is the great broadcast, top 10 reasons why you should only buy replica watches. So, perhaps it's best if we just go to total display capture and let this speech engine read the story. It will be flawless. Okay. Here we go.
Top 10 reasons why you should only buy replica watches. 1. The price. 2. Big watch companies have made a fortune already. Chinese people also need money for food. 3. Often top brand Swiss watches are overpriced because all people working there also make a lot of money. 4. So you can actually wear the watch without worrying about damaging the watch all the time. 5. To have at least one replica watch in your collection. 6. To attract gold digger chicks because you're nicer anyway. 7. Often you can buy 70 fakes for the price of one real one. Different colors, models, etc. 8. It is not illegal to own a fake watch, only to sell it in some countries. 9. To try out several Rolexes, Bell & Rosses, Breedlings, Buffoons and Painterais before you buy a real one. 10. To not help the people that want you all to spend money you need for food and stuff by buying a real expensive brand overpriced watch. There are practically no watches that keep their value. Rolexes and almost all other watches are worth a lot less after a person purchases a new. Some Casios and other limited edition watches may sell for a lot more than the original price, but they're...
I interrupt this to first bring the message that I think it's best to buy at least one accurate timepiece of quartz, preferably atomic watch, so you know what time it is basically. Because these automatic and mechanical watches are never as exact as a quartz, especially not atomic time watch basically. And the other tip is never buy it online, because it's criminal to sell them. Often these watches do not arrive, they can send you an empty box. That also happened to me. And it's better to make an appointment with a dealer somewhere, and then you can see what you're buying. Often these watches are crappy, they have crappy movement. So some people gave the tip to buy quartz if you're buying replicas. Quartz and not mechanical, though they can also have an ETA. Well, the ones with an ETA movement are not Swiss ETA, they're Chinese ETA. Or well, you also have these value watches, which are usually more expensive. So you have to watch out that you get a reasonable movement. And I think the Swiss replica Chinese ETA are reasonable, I think. I had to remove the crown out of this. It's online how to do this. With ETA movements it's quite simple. You push a little button and you can remove the crown, because they had put the hands on the watch in a way that the second hand was touching the minute hand, so then it got stuck, and I had to remove the crown to be able to get to the movement, to get to the front of the watch. So I took it apart, but it's a really nice replica. It has Rolex on the inside. If it is a replica, it might also be a real one. I mean, I wouldn't want to wear a real one, I think it's too expensive and stuff. And if it gets stolen or damaged, then people are really in tears and stuff. Anyway, it also has at 6 o'clock it has that crown that you can only see under special lighting conditions. So if I keep it like this in the sun, then I can see that crown thing. So it's basically a one-to-one replica, though you cannot expect it to be the quality of a real Rolex. You could also say it might be better quality. I mean, you can look at the stories online, and sometimes these real Rolex sellers also sell fakes. There There are many videos on YouTube about this subject, but I think they are overpriced because people working at Rolex also have to make money and drive their Ferrari, etc. So let's continue the text.
There's no guarantee you can make money this way. People wearing replica watches are a living commercial for these expensive brand watches. Any publicity is good publicity. When people wear a good fake, people who see it may think it's real and beautiful and buy a real one. They should come down hard on people that try to sell replicas as real watches by not indicating in their advertisement it's a fake or replica watch, and condone people who sell fake watches even if they are crappy, because experts can always tell if it's a fake and will just make them buy the real thing. These people also want to make a living, and this way kids and grown-ups can buy watches that look awesome, keep the time reasonably well. If it's not a bad movement replica, quartz is a safer bet when buying an ultra-cheap replica. They can wear a watch which they can never afford in reality and are just making people buy these watches. They would not have gotten the idea to buy one if they would not have seen one. You could put a better movement in it yourself, but that requires removing the hands, and for that you need to remove the crown first. All explained on YouTube. It takes time, and not all people are capable of doing it without damaging their watch, but usually they succeed.
So even the most accurate automatic mechanical watch, the Zenith, is less accurate than the atomic watches of, for example, Casio or Casio. Yeah, but this is, I think this is really nice. It doesn't have the sundial bezel, it's basically ceramic, I guess. Looks like this. It's not very visible in this light and stuff, but it's a really nice blue Submariner replica. So I can show you the marking at 6 o'clock on the glass and the inner dial, but you can see that in the pictures online basically. So these are my tips qua replica watches. Most watches in my collection are real, but they're cheap, Casio and some Invictas and other good deals I was able to find on eBay. So people can always just search on watch and find watches for $1, $2, etc. And recently I bought this. So think about it, it's much better to have a timer and an alarm, perhaps even other information for which you scan your cell phone radiation, which they consider smart, they're called smart watches, if they help with depopulating the Earth. So it's best to use aluminum foil when you're installing watch faces and to keep it in airplane mode. Not to wear the watch if it's not in airplane mode, and not to buy a cancer Fitbit or other watches that you cannot put in airplane mode. It's impossible to turn off the cancer cell phone radiation, which causes cancer, DNA damage and lumping red blood cells, which is a reproducible test that you can do at home with a microscope. Also a learning experience. So normally I don't really wear this, it's just for fun, for my collection. It's much nicer to have a timer and other options. That e-ink display, which is also called, these e-ink display watches, let's say on, they take my throat with directed energy weapons and shit. More about this in my previous broadcasts. So watches with an e-ink display can stay on for about a week, some of them even 45 days or something. So I bought this Meta watch, this thing, with the reflective LCD. So this is basically like a mirror. You can see the camera also. And I was able to install this firmware, but it was quite hard to do so. So I would like to have the 1.5.5 firmware for this. Perhaps somebody can upload firmware for the Meta Watch. Because this firmware does not have a timer, though there is a firmware that has a timer. And I also have succeeded in installing this firmware, so yeah, that's really functionality, and knowing the exact time as it's displayed in the middle of my screen is also important. For example, if you're logging directed energy weapon attacks, to know exact time of the attack, and yeah, to know what time it is, you know. That's the reason, one of the reasons people wear a watch, because all the clocks and televisions and etc. surrounding us, most of them don't show us the exact time, though nowadays it's better than it used to be. Also with bidding on eBay, etc. Of course you'd have to know what time it is. And the best way is to sync with the atomic clock, which is seen as the what do you call it, the main thing to synchronize your watches. It's seen as the thing used to calibrate your watch, also to put it. You can use time.is, for example, a website. That's right here. I've adjusted the colors, and this is showing the exact time as well. And recently I discovered another website where you can download timers and stopwatches. That's also cool. Let's see. It was free stopwatch online or something. Online stopwatch, online-stopwatch, and there you can see here in the right bottom corner download, and then you can download these nice timers and stopwatches. One of them is particularly nice, with an hourglass that finishes when the time you have set is expired. Or is passed, metronome, and these exe files work. You do have to have Flash installed or something. So that's online stopwatch. And some replicas are sold overpriced and worth the money. Though people might think, oh, it looks like a really expensive watch, and that's worth the money. So I hope they come down harder on people that sell them as if they were the real thing, and that they tolerate the people that make clear that they're selling replicas. And I think it is, like I said, it's good for the sellers that they sell more when people wear such a watch. But this is also wonderful. The pagan watch that shows its sun, day, today. Pagan watch face for the pebble. So I don't like when people are screwed. It doesn't fit in with bestowing maximum fulfillment upon everyone. And I want to mention that I think that most people are not paid or elite. Most of the elite are normal elite and not into abusing, depopulating, torturing, cannibalism, etc. Tyrannizing, which they see as a form of power, the state's monopoly on violence, etc. More about it in my previous broadcast, also about my anti-global government movement, the AGGM. Because there are so many anti-New World Order movements, I thought I would make an anti-global government movement, and I hope people join me, which doesn't necessarily mean coming together physically, as it does via the internet, basically forming an alliance or a group that exposes the people that want to depopulate the earth, the people that are depopulating earth, the people that want to reduce the world's global population to a more controllable number, be it enslavable number, to impose a satanic Luciferian totalitarian global government upon the people of planet Earth. And they may do that via the world war over Iran, the third Jesuit world war, and they pretend to be doing the opposite. That's the satanic inversion. So it's best to prepare for that. There's no use in mentioning it if you don't explain to people what they can do about it. But the idea is preventing a world war over the two-state solution, world war and nuclear agreement. So, and to point your finger at the people that are really doing it, not fake groups like the Zionists and the globalists, etc. Because they will erase you if you do not act, you are acted upon, to quote Orwell. So, single ladies are welcome to smoke a peace pipe or to drink coconut pineapple smoothie of Albert Heijn or anything else to get to know me, but only single females. So in reality I'm really a hetero, and I just want to make love, have sex like everybody else, basically. Yeah, so what else can I tell you about these replica watches? Well, you can look at a couple of them. Often they don't even look like the real thing. There are things that are different about the replicas that are often visible on the pictures also. And often these sellers use pictures of the real watch, and then you get another crappy watch that doesn't look like the real thing at all, basically. So that's another reason not to buy these watches, these replicas, online, unless you know it's a trustworthy source that actually sends the item, etc. Some very nice ones. I like these chronomats also. Let's see if my watch is still on time. 13:51. 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it's already about 1 second behind, basically. But the minute hand is already on 52. So I don't know if I said it incorrectly, because I just put it on for this broadcast, basically. But it's just for when I go dating or to a disco or whatever, to have a nice watch. To make an impression, usually you hear these stories about they already have the job if they wear a Rolex and stuff, and immediately they are seen as gods, and They do everything for somebody wearing a Rolex. Like Alex, control the opposition people, etc. So of course the sellers would try to tell you that these watches are worth every penny. And doctors make money of keeping people sick, not curing people, and what else is new. The most useless complication ever, the tourbillon. So in a pocket watch that's useful, but not in a wristwatch, and it would have to be a triple axis tourbillon basically. So you cannot see the laser etched engraving, not even on the real Rolex picture, I think. Oh, this is a replica also. On mine, the watch dial is not completely in the middle. So it wasn't drilled correctly, basically. So then you cannot put it in the place where it should be, but it's almost unnoticeable. So perhaps even some people that sell Rolexes would think this is a real Rolex. But one of the ways you can see it is also that the engraving on the inside of the watch dial basically, or on the side of the dial, the crown is not in the middle exactly. And that can also be the reason they put these bezels. They have a rotatable bezel like this. You can hear it here. It's so cool! It's incredible! And often they put them not like this in the middle, or this is, yeah, well, it's, this is in the middle if you look straight from here, basically, because you can't put them in the middle. They put them somewhere like this, for example. You know, not with the luminous dot on 12 o'clock, basically. And often you can already see the luminous dot is missing from the watch. So when you buy stuff on eBay, you also have to check these pictures big screen so that you can see. And not think, oh, this price is so right, I have to go for this. I've even bought fake Casios on one fake Casio on eBay, and their money back guarantee helped in this case. So that's one of the reasons I buy on eBay. Yeah. I can show you another replica that I have. That sucks. It's an IWC. Sort of Cousteau divers, but I wanted the blue one, and I have the black with yellow one, but the weird thing about it is that it has a white, let's see, a white dial around it, or on the bezel basically. So this is the thing. Then I would have to get my box. And I don't really feel like getting that at the moment, so it's just underneath another box, and it's too much for me at the moment. But okay, it has a white circle around it basically. And often it's constructed in a way that you can't get your money back, and so ordering them online may not be a good idea. Also, they don't use PayPal because they cannot use PayPal. If PayPal finds out that they're selling fake watches, then they're not capable of paying, using PayPal anymore, basically. So then they also use money transfer and stuff like that. Some of them have arrived, so I'm not saying all these dealers are fake and you'll never get your watch, but it is possible. So you have to calculate it in. And it's simply better to visit a dealer somewhere. It's not like $1 million Coke deal or anything. And often they show the replica websites that are too expensive at the top. Basically, it's all constructed for them to make more money. It's the driving force usually behind whatever it is they do and don't do. And the other one was a Breitling replica. I used to have one for $475 with a value chronograph movement, a Breitling planes on the back or whatever. But they've scammed my father, so basically they've stolen everything I owned and still legally own. So you could argue it's better to get a quartz watch because that's more accurate anyway, less prone to damage because of shock and magnetism, etc. But it has to have a working battery, that's true. But batteries for Casio are very cheap and it's very easy to put it in yourself. If you mind the little spring and the rubber to keep it waterproof, not to touch it with your hands, and wash your hands before you do open watches, like a doctor basically. Oh yeah, that one's also nice with the engravings. Oh, my alarm going off. Okay, so then I'm going to temporarily halt this broadcast for universal peace. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. So I want to finish with the statement that it is legal to produce these replicas in some countries, which I think is good for true competition, so that you don't get a monopoly by rich people that sell tremendously overpriced watches and that have made a fortune already, that are in on depopulating the earth and are using their fortune to accumulate more wealth and power. So please watch my previous broadcast for universal peace. Thank you all for watching. And do healing stuff, have sex, and perhaps it's best not to buy any watches you don't need. We're surrounded with these fucking clocks, etc. And we're still growing younger. If we are not accomplices to depopulating Earth, torturing people, and murder. Because of this hypnosis, my previous hypnoses and the programming I use and produce scalar waves myself, more about it in my previous broadcasts for universal peace.